Hello, I'm Frank Felker with Digital Media Positioning. I'm joined today by Seraj Saba of Rise Funding in Miami, Florida, here to talk about Martin Signs and note investing made easier. Seraj, welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning, Frank. Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
I appreciate you being here with us today to talk about your experience with note investing and your experience working with Martin Signs. Let's start with this. How long have you been involved in investing in distressed mortgage notes?
It's been about 6 months now. Started about the summer of 2017.
Okay, and what had you been doing up to that point before you got involved with that?
Yeah, I have been, my background is a real estate investor. I started investing in real estate in about 2009, and so I've been flipping homes, landlording, buying apartment buildings, that type of thing, for the last, I guess, 8 years or so, before I finally decided it was time to get into something else and note investing.
Okay, and that's great. That leads directly into my next question, which is, what attracted you to the idea of note investing?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. Landlording and real estate, it's a lot of physical work. I mean, you got to be there and be on the property or be somewhere. So it's it's very physically demanding, always going somewhere and being in a different place, and it also comes with a different set of challenges, shall we say. Whereas note investing is just not that it's easy or doesn't have its challenges, but just different set of challenges, a little bit easier to come stay in the office, be kind of in one point instead of being in lots of physical locations, checking on a property. I mean, I couldn't, for example, invest in properties all over the country because it'd be almost impossible for me to be flying all around checking on status of a property at any given time. Whereas as a note investor, I can do that. I can sort of opens up my opportunities, so to speak.
And how did you first become aware of Martin Signs?
I read his book, Note Investing Made Easier. Was when you start looking into a new field, you try to educate yourself, and that book was recommended to me, so I picked it up and read it, and it was just a well-written, simple, easy to understand book. I think Martin, in that book, he gives you everything you need to know to get started. He doesn't hold back anything, which I found very refreshing. A lot of these types of books, educational books, they'll always hold something back to get you to go, buy something else or do something else. And, Martin wasn't like that in his book. It was, he put everything out there, made it easy to understand. And I like that a lot.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that about his book. Now, how did you guys first connect personally? Did you email him or reach out to him in some fashion?
I did, yeah. I think somewhere in the book he gave his email address. So, like I said, I was impressed with the tone of the book and the content, and so I decided to send him an email and find out what other educational opportunities might be available.
And so then how did your relationship progress from there?
Well, we talked on the phone quite a few times, I think, before actually he recommended that I take his workshop. And so then we decided to set up the workshop, and I went from there.
And when did that occur?
The workshop, I believe, was in August of this year, 2017. And Martin's up in the DC area, so I went up to DC for a couple days and did the workshop with him up there.
And relative to your expectations as far as what you were going to learn or come away from the workshop with, what were those expectations going in?
Well, I guess from reading the book, I thought that, like I said, everything was there that you really needed to know. I just thought that it would probably go into more detail than the book, gave in the limited amount of pages that it has. It's a complex, field. So, I mean, I knew that the book was simple, but that it needed a little bit more, detail and explanation. So I imagine that's what it would be like.
And then after spending 2 days in Martin's workshop, how did what you experienced match up with your expectations?
Yeah, it was a great experience. Meeting him for the first time, he's down to earth, regular guy, which was great to see. He's a very conscientious individual. He wants to make sure that as you're taking his workshop, that you are getting everything that you expect and that you need. Very personal attention. Very, very much wanted to make sure that I went away from that workshop having everything that I needed and that that I paid for. That I got good value. That I came away happy.
That's great. And have you and Martin continued to work together since the workshop?
We have, yeah. We've continued to work together under his mentorship program as well. Yeah.
And what has been your experience there in terms of expectations and results?
Yeah, I mean, with the mentorship program, it's, I'm not sure if it's for everybody, but it was definitely right for me, because like I said, I had an experience before. I'm not a young guy, and I think with the mentorship program, it just helps you get to where you want to go a lot faster. Really speeds things up for you in terms of getting into the business and getting running. I probably saved at this point at least a year or more of time and mistakes and learning, because Martin is there with you step by step. He helps set you up with people to buy the notes from. He walks you through each one that you buy and steps to go to work out with the borrowers and everything. So you've got a coach there, someone that you can talk to and ask and learn from, step by step. It's been great, and it's catapulted me, further than I think I could have got on my own, for sure, in a short amount of time.
I can imagine, perhaps due to privacy concerns, you may not want to speak to specific results that you've achieved, but is there anything that you might want to share that had to do with a specific transaction or anything specific, as I say, that you've achieved as a result of working with Martin?
Yeah, sure. I mean, and I guess it's been about 3 months since we've been doing the mentorship program, and I bought up to this point about 11 notes. And of those 11, 2 of them already have, I've gone through the workout process with the borrowers and had a successful loan modification start. So, you know, it's been positive so far. You know, of course, not every deal is as good as those ones, but you know, those 2 out of the 11 have been good, you know, good success stories early in the career. So it's been good.
Wonderful. Well, based on everything we've talked about and the experience that you've had working with Martin, starting with reading his book, what might you say to someone who is considering purchasing the book, taking his workshop, getting into the mentoring program so far, as far as what your thoughts were going in, based to what you've seen as results? What would you say to you as you were considering it back then, someone in that same position today?
Well, you know, I mean, as far as, you know, the book, it's like I said, it's a well-written, simple book, easy to understand. And I think since I've you know, read the book, I've loaned it to several friends already, and you know, every one of them have come back to me saying that's a great book. You know, I want to know more. I want to learn more. So it's a great place to start for everybody, I think. And you know, with the workshop, like I said, it was a great in-depth, you know, compliment to the book. And you know, the mentorship program, you know, I'm not sure if it's for everybody, but for me, you know, I think it definitely helped me, you know, get to where I wanted to go faster.
Seraj, Saba, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Frank. My pleasure.
Thanks again to Seraj, and thank you for joining us. Till next time, I'm Frank Felker.